Man, you see, I had this entire video scripted out and ready to roll when I got on YouTube this morning and saw that one of my heroes in this industry, who is Matt Johnson, uploaded almost an identical titled video. Oh well, I'm still gonna give it a go because most of our points are kind of different, so let's give it a go. What's up everybody? My name is Ross Barnett, and for the last 7 years, I have been a full-time videographer focusing on live events. And a majority of those live events have been weddings throughout the Southeast United States. And this is all through my business, Two Fly Guys Media. You see, my first wedding film ever produced, we charged a simple $800, and now we're charging somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 per wedding film. So you could definitely say I've learned a lot about pricing wedding films over the last 7 years, and hopefully I can take some of that knowledge of what I've learned and present it to you here. So let's take a second to talk about 4 practical approaches to wedding pricing and how you can best price yourself for your wedding films. Hey, real quick, so we have a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, and we're already a quarter of the way there. So, I mean, if you're thinking about it, click that subscribe button, and let's get started. Up first, let's talk about the location you're in. Look around, drive around town, do some Googling on the area. Where are you, and how many weddings are happening around you realistically? When I first decided that I enjoyed filming weddings, I lived in a small town of about 33,000 people, which pretty small. Besides the occasional barn wedding here and there wasn't much in the luxury wedding space, hence why our first film was $800. But when you take a second to look around at the cities surrounding you, you might have just as good of luck as I did. You see, about an hour away from my small town is Savannah, Georgia, and about 2.5 hours away from that small town is Charleston, South Carolina, both of which are cities that have been some of the top destination wedding locations in the US for the last several years. Now, I know some videographers that seem to think that traveling anywhere outside of 30 minutes from where they live is just too far and deserves a travel fee. And I'm here to say that there is no reason to charge a travel fee until you get several hours from your house. Why is that? Because these larger cities and filming in multiple larger cities will expand your clientele and expand the amount of films that you're able to do. And more clients always equals better pricing in the long run. If you live in a large city, I would still hold off on any travel fees because that adds the potential to open up another larger city nearby. When it comes to the location you're in, do not limit yourself to a specific small town. Do not limit yourself to a specific city. Go to the cities with the larger reach and advertise there. A few hours of driving on a weekend to land a large wedding client will always be worth it, rather than limiting yourself to the area that you live. A lot like charging for travel and additional fees, I've found that customers hate any additional fees that they have to pay outside of your rates. Your rates should always include payment for things like credit card fees, invoice fees, travel fees, hotel rooms, and gas. Make this booking process as simple as possible with your clients, and don't bombard them with a calculus problem of all the fees and taxes and additional things that they'll need to pay for when it's all said and done. Just give them a price and cover everything within that price. When it comes to pricing, I currently don't charge for travel up to 300 miles from where I live, which is a fairly large area between Jacksonville, Florida and Charlotte, North Carolina. But like we talked about earlier, I would rather be in multiple markets to allow for easier booking than to limit myself to one city or one small town where I live. If you're just starting out, or even if you've been at it for a while, it is so important to think of your pricing like a business pricing rather than like an employee. I've said it before, you can only expect to bring home about 1/3 of the money personally as a business owner. And the same goes for your initial wedding pricing. Knowing things like your fixed cost is so important into going into pricing your wedding films. Fixed costs can be anything from camera purchases, an editing computer, storage space, and the multitude of other costs that come along with the hobby. Now, I'm not saying you should charge your first client for all of the gear that you need, because that's super unfair and a good way to price yourself out of the market pretty much immediately. But knowing those monthly costs over time and knowing that you'll need room for the business to grow is so important. For individual weddings, think of things like travel costs, gas, hotels, and second shooter rates. And for the long term, think of things like gear upgrades, lenses, tools to do the job better, monthly music subscriptions, invoice software, credit card fees. All of these things add up eventually. If you're interested in this more, check out my video on how to make money within the videography business, where I talk a lot more about business costs and how to manage money when first starting things out. Now, this next saying I've heard a few times, and I've heard it used in such a poor context. Know your worth. When I say know your worth, it's taking your location, your competition, and all of your surroundings in your market and deciding where you land in the middle of it all. This takes some actual self-awareness, not just deciding that you're worth a certain price because you think you're worth a certain price. Start with the competition in your area. You need to find wedding videographers in your area that are advertising their work and see what they're charging. Now, have the self-awareness to watch their films and judge it alongside some of your own work to see where you stand within your style and offerings. Knowing the current market around you and the current market within certain cities is a huge benefit when pricing your wedding films. Your clients are out there doing the exact same thing as this before booking you, so it's best to know where you stand amongst the competition. Now, I say this more of a self-awareness piece. There are new wedding videographers out there who just immediately try to jump into luxury pricing, and there are some out there who have been filming weddings for 10 years and still never able to make the pricing increases. And a lot of that is because of their work and their offerings. Being able to watch a film from the competition and know exactly where you stand to price yourself accordingly is so important. And finally, I know this is somewhat of a debatable topic, but I have always been a big advocate for putting your pricing directly on your website. I understand why people don't. Well, because they want to try to upsell. But I've found that having your pricing clearly displayed on your website keeps clients in the know, and there's just a lot of time not wasted with clients who can't afford your services, sending you inquiries and emails over and over again that they have no purpose in booking. Having your pricing clearly displayed on your website keeps the traffic to your email down, and you know that when you get an inquiry, they are already understanding what it will cost and are 9 times out of 10 ready to move forward with booking. So save yourself the time and the hassle with dealing with inquiries that won't ever book. Just put your pricing on your website, easy to find and easy to read. I found that over the years, the easier it is for a couple to book, the faster they will book. The more you hold up the process by withholding information like pricing or adding confusing fees and taxes or credit card fees onto your base rate, the easier it is for them to just go somewhere else. Make the booking process simple, and clients will be better off booking. So there you have it. Those are my 4 main pricing mistakes that I see from wedding videographers. Not expanding your location, charging extra fees, not knowing your worth, and not listing your pricing on your website. These 4 areas I've seen so often in this industry, and I believe I've overcome them to create a thriving business. If you learned anything at all from this video, I'd appreciate the subscribe. You see, we have a goal here to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, and we're already a quarter of the way there. So I'll see you on the next one.